I'm Kelly Foss. Let's face it, drawing portraits can be very challenging. So what we're going to do is break it down into 4 videos. This one, we're going to draw a mouth. Next one, a nose. Next one, eyes. And then the last one will be the full portrait, seeing how the features communicate with each other. I'm going to keep it really simple. So all the items that we're going to be using: Lyra's Rembrandt Polycolor, just a simple red. Any red will do. Now for the graphites I'll be using: the Lyra Rembrandt Art Design, an HB, a 4B, and a 9B. Oh my goodness, I love a 9B. The paper we'll be using is my absolute favorite, Strathmore. This is a simple drawing paper, and this is 9 by 12, but you can really go with any size. For an eraser, I'm going to use this one here. And want to know a secret drawing weapon of mine? One of the Princeton brushes. I believe you pronounce it as hake, and you'll see what I use this for. If you don't have all the supplies, that's fine. Just make do with what you have, and let's just get right into it. I'm drawing the mouth of my lovely model, Nina. I'm marking the general boundaries of my drawing and checking the height versus width, which it is a little less than 3 heights wide. She's turning away from us a little bit, so the center of the mouth is a little more left. And my bottom lip height is taller than my top lip height. If there's a tilt to the mouth, we can find it by comparing the corner of the mouth to the corner of the mouth. This is called point-to-point comparison, and it is a traditional method. Do you notice that I'm using all these straight lines? This is why this process is usually referred to as the block-in process. I'm keeping it very blocky, and I'm just finding the general angles of the mouth. Now I'm capturing just the simple shadow shape and how it wraps around that bottom lip there. The upper lip is pretty downward facing, so it's almost all in shadow itself. One last check of height versus width. Just while it's still sketchy, I make sure that my drawing did not grow, and it didn't. So let's use a side hold and glaze in this general shadowy base. And just tone the lip a little bit with the red, leaving space for the lightness. With a clean bit of tissue, I'm doing what I call a fog out. Back to the red to reestablish the lines and the shadows that I transition out of, from darkness up towards light. My model has a natural lip, so I'm making sure not to outline the lip, but go smoothly from color to flesh. Everyone's lips are so different. This bottom lip here reaches towards the corner of the mouth more than the top lip does, so I'm making sure to capture that. And back to a nice fog out, getting rid of all that scratchiness, as well as letting that red tint some of the flesh that is in the shadow. Let's start layering by introducing the 4B, and I'm just going to touch on some of the darkest moments. So that little corner of the mouth, the center of the mouth, as well as just this shadowy area that gets a little bit darker at the crease. With a clean bit of tissue, I'm massaging that tone into the red. And then jumping to the HB to begin a little bit of smoother transition, really controlled coming out of that darker zone. And toning down my shadow a little bit. Back to the 4B, deepening that shadow bit, just building it. Notice I'm not doing the full outline of the lip. I'm just staying to this shadow side with the darkness. And look at how cool it makes the lip. It's certainly turning it darker in value, but the color is shifting to coolness because of the graphite. So then what do? You switch to the red and you warm it up. Now look at how beautifully this is layering. Really take your time. There's not a clear separation of the mouth from the top lip to the bottom lip in the shadow. So I'm making sure not to overemphasize the separation. It's very naturalistic to let them kind of blend together. I'm redefining the shadow edge, and then I'm growing out of it towards the light. Harder pressure in the shadow, and then lightening the pressure as I go up. Starts looking 3D if you take your time to do this. The upper lip on the left side is quite illuminated by the bottom lip bouncing so much light on it, but it does tilt down as it goes into the mouth. So I'm adding darkness just with the red there. I'm using a lot of little strokes rather than one pressured stroke to make sure that I'm not doing something that looks outlined. When we start outlining things, it starts looking cartoony, which I love cartoons. Don't get me wrong. It's just not what I'm going for with this piece. Make sure to sharpen your pencils often. It can help eliminate this dither, which is the artistic word for static on your piece. I'm fogging out my static right now and using my white eraser to clean up the flesh in the light, as well as pull up a few little highlights on the lower lip using my Princeton brush, easily sweeping away all those eraser peels. Just as we established the lightest lights, here's the 9B to reestablish just a touch of that darkest dark zone right there, the corner of the mouth and a little bit of the lips. And now we'll jump back over to the HB to more smoothly transition out of that dark pocket and add just a little more value, a little more darkness to the flesh. Let's warm that up with the red. And look at how not outlined this lip is. I really just want to transition, transition, transition. Back to the HB. A little more flesh shadow below the lip, as well as on that upper lip there, just transitioning up out of that crease, all the way up to the philtrum. The philtrum is this little valley that's right above your lips. And there's just a little bit of value that we can put up there, transitioning out of the lip color. Taking my tissue, I'm doing one last smoothing it out, and taking the eraser, just do last touch cleanup of those highlights. And there we go. Studying the individual features on a face can make drawing the full portrait easier. So I hope you'll join me for the next 3 videos. I'm Kelly Foss, and I'll see you next time.